Hello, my name is Josh Gardner, and I am doing a presentation on sulfur today. Very interesting. Some of the characteristics: it is a non-metallic chemical element, belongs to the oxygen group, one of the most reactive of elements. Pure sulfur is tasteless and odorless, and it's brittle with a pale yellow color, a poor conductor of electricity, and insoluble in water. Some of the main functions are it is involved in the structure of hair, skin, and nails through the two amino acids methionine and cysteine, and it is concentrated in the protein carotene. Sulfur is part of several vitamins, including thiamine, pantothenic acid, and biotin. It acts as coenzymes in cell metabolism, essential for collagen synthesis, important for building connective tissue, used in production of sulfuric acid. And the whole food sources, there's many. I'll just mention a few. Meat and poultry, fish and seafood, legumes, nuts and seeds. And as you can see, there's many other things, one of which I want to bring up is water. Of course, it depends on where you live and if you have a well or not, because wells have more sulfur. And what it's known for, what I knew it for anyways, is that most people know for the smell. Smells like rotten eggs or farts. But as we found out before, that's actually pure sulfur does not have the smell, but what that is known for is hydrogen sulfide. And sulfur in the U.S. mainly known for sulfuric acid, which is mainly used for fertilizer. In some of the medical uses, there's over 150 FDA-approved sulfur-based drugs on the market. It can be used topically for skin problems like acne through lotions, soaps, and ointments, but also antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory, antiviral, and anticonvulsant. And we'll talk about others later on. The role in disease: sulfur-containing amino acids, cysteine and methionine, contribute substantially to maintenance of cellular systems. They perform this task by detoxifying toxic compounds, free radicals, and reactive oxygen species. Genetic defects in enzymes that regulate sulfur create many problems, including cystinuria and cystinemia and neural tube defects. Some cool facts. The Bible references sulfur, but it's called brimstone. It's very interesting. Sulfur is the 10th most abundant element in the universe, mainly used today in the manufacture of sulfuric acid, which is used in fertilizers, batteries, and cleaners. And as we know before, pure sulfur has no smell. The smell comes from the compound hydrogen sulfide. Deficiency in the U.S. Sulfur-containing amino acid methionine is not produced naturally in our bodies and needs to be attained through our diet. However, deficiency in the U.S. is very rare due to the multiple food sources, as we saw before. But if there was a deficiency, it could result in stunted growth. Toxicity risk. Sulfur has a very low toxicity risk. It poses very small risk to human health, placed in the toxicity category 4, can cause eye irritation, dermal toxicity, and inhalation hazards, placed in toxicity category 3 for those. Chronic exposure for mine workers with sulfur dust and sulfur dioxide had eye respiratory disturbances, chronic bronchitis, and chronic sinus effects, and that's just for the mine workers that had the higher exposure. And the research article that I found was very interesting was the pharmaceutical and medicinal significance of sulfur, containing motifs for drug discovery, a critical review. And it has a wide range of clinical uses. As we saw before, there's over 150 FDA-approved drugs and topical ointments, lotions, and such. But antimicrobial agents, anti-diabetic activity, anti-inflammatory activity, anti-malarial activity, and Alzheimer's disease, tuberculosis activity, antiviral activity, carbonic anhydrase inhibition, cannabinoid receptor agonists, and anticonvulsant activity and anti-cancer. Now, all of these are suggested potential uses for the sulfur. sulfur-containing compounds, and which is actually a much better alternative to what they have right now because, as we know, it is much less toxic and a much cheaper alternative to a lot of the stuff that we're using today. Here's my references. Thank you very much.